Video record.
Okay.
Now it's recording. All right. We can cut this out. All right. Ready? Go.
Good afternoon, Mondro Gary here for our final project for Education Law 7794, Dr. Shupe. Today I'll be introducing the Georgia Code of Ethics, Standards 1 through 11. Standard number 1 is legal compliance. And basically, this is an expectation for educators to abide by federal, state, and local laws. And educators are simply supposed to be a model of ethics and to make sure that legally that we're just pretty much so above the board, making sure that we don't have DUIs and felonies, misdemeanors, and things of that sort, because it could come back to affect our certificate. Number 2 is our code of conduct with students. Of course, we know educators are supposed to be models of professionalism, and we're supposed to maintain appropriate relationships with all students, and both inside and outside the classroom. Our relationships, especially just when we're dealing with opposite sex relationships, the state defines a student or a student age 18 and under, and we're also just supposed to help them abide by the substance abuse policies. And the quote to live by, which I borrowed from the Georgia Code of Ethics, is to be friendly but not a friend. That also includes relationships with social media and just making sure that we're above board as it relates to that standard. Standard number 3 is alcohol and drugs. And of course, you know, as educators, we're supposed to refrain from the use of alcohol on campus and off campus, or illegal drugs during the course of professional practices. Recently, I knew of a teacher who gave a young lady some medicine to help her just deal with some issues that she was having, and it got back to the administrators, and basically her certificate was suspended. So just simple things such as prescription medicines and alcohol and drugs, just to make sure that we avoid and stay away from. Standard number 4, educators are supposed to be models of honesty. This standard states that an educator shall exemplify honesty and integrity in the course of professional practice. Unethical conduct includes, but is not limited to, falsifying, misrepresenting, or omitting information. And basically, in a nutshell, we're supposed to exemplify honesty and integrity in the course of our professional practices, on our certifications, standardized tests, just to be a model of integrity, not only for our students, but to be a model of integrity for our system. Standard number 5 is a big one, where we're supposed to exemplify, where we're supposed to manage public funds and property. And misuse of public funds, of course, is not only an ethical dilemma, but it can also lead to legal ramifications. Failing to account for money, fraudulent purchase agreements where we're setting up deals outside of the school to pretty much so gain financially is a big no-no. And also commingling of school funds. As athletic director, I've seen issues throughout our county where sometimes coaches open up accounts in their names and money is being fed into their programs. And in a nutshell, it's caused a lot of misappropriation of funds, and it's just pretty much what caused the big stink. So we just want to make sure that we're accountable to public funds, that we're managing public funds with integrity and with accountability. Standard number 6 is remunerative conduct, which basically means that we're supposed to maintain high integrity with stakeholders and in our business relationships. So if we have tutoring services, if we're coaches, we're not supposed to use it for monetary gain, and we have to be very careful as it relates to making sure that we're not pretty much so proselyting school businesses and interfusing school businesses with our own business, because that's a violation of ethical code number 6. Number 7 is confidential information. The sharing of confidential information concerning students' academic disciplinary and health and medical information could pretty much so result in legal ramifications for educators. So if a person does not need to know what a student's records are, our job is not just to go volunteer this information. It should be done on a needs to know basis. Standard number 8 is abandonment of contract. The educator should fulfill the terms and obligations detailed in the contract, and aborting this contract could also lead to legal ramifications where basically we're supposed to simply just fulfill our duties of contract. Even as classroom teachers, we're supposed to uphold a strong ethical standard as it relates to standards-based curriculum and making sure that we're following the guidelines of our local board as well as the state of Georgia. Standard 9 is required reports. This is a biggie. All educators are mandated reporters if there's allegations of sexual misconduct, sexual abuse, or if there's anything that is going against the grain of what professionals are supposed to be doing in the school building. It's a breach of contract, and it's also a breach of ethical standard if we do not report issues pertaining to children as well as adults that are compromising the integrity of our system. Standard number 10 is professional conduct. Educators are supposed to demonstrate and conduct ourselves professionally and with dignity and integrity of teaching. A case that comes to mind is Jenkins versus Education. Basically, when it comes down to supervision, administrators, teachers, all stakeholders working with children are to pretty much so make sure that our children are safe until they get home. We're also responsible for the children when they get off of campus. So everything just needs to be in place as it relates to making sure that our duties and our supervision is in place. Also, another case that comes to mind is Spears versus Jefferson Parish School Board. This is a case where a school district was liable for intentional acts resulting in harm to a child. So basically, this is a case that deals with negligence. Standard number 11 is testing. Of course, educators are supposed to administer state-mandated assessments fairly and ethically, and to make sure that there's no breach of test security. So the case that comes to mind is the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal, where several administrators and teachers some were found guilty of pretty much so violating test policies and contracts. Once again, this is Gary, Education Law, 7794.